until it won't be ready to operate this until May. Tobytown service, the executive again is recommending running a shuttle from Tobytown. This would be a contract service with the Jewish Council on Aging, and it would, I said a shuttle, it's really not a shuttle, it's a route from Tobytown, and it stops at the schools which serve Tobytown and others along the route. Travilla Elementary School, Frost Middle School, and Newton High School, as well as Shady Grove Hospital, Universities at Shady Grove, and Rockville Metro would end at Rockville. The fare would be the same as a regular ride-on fare at $1.75. The exec, again, last year it was included in the budget, but that came out as a result of the savings plan, so I was recommending putting it back in. I was putting it back in as a peak period only service, and so the cost is about $60,000 less than what was proposed last year at $160,000. In FY18 for a full year it would be $213,000. And there's very, very small offsetting revenue. You can see the revenue coverage is less than 4%, which is much, much lower than the average for ride-ons. It almost isn't, well, I was going to say almost isn't worth charging, but nevertheless. Councilmembers Berliner and Katz, you sent a letter earlier this year asking that basically the same service as what the executive recommended last year, which was that it be an all-day service between 6 in the morning and 7 at night. That would cost an additional $144,000 more in FY17 and $192,000 more in 18, and would add only 18 more passengers during the day. The base service during the peak is projected to basically carry about 30 patrons during the day. So it'll be 30 plus 18 will be 48. Councilmember Navarro also sent in a letter in support of Tobytown, but it wasn't clear in the letter. It was more general, just saying to add back service. It didn't say whether it was just peak period or off. The point I would make is that, again, Tobytown's not unique. There are several other minority communities in the Ag Reserve and several other communities themselves that are just general communities which don't have any ride-on service. And this is an extremely ineffective service. And so just making that point.
Thank you, Dr. Orland. I appreciate you making that point, and there are certain things that actually we recognize are not, quote, cost-effective, don't pencil out. I get it. And from my perspective, unlike Dr. Orland, I think we have a special responsibility to this community that we have failed to honor in the past, and we've struggled trying to come up with something, and now we've got a new proposal. So I do regret that we haven't acted earlier to help this community that is both impoverished and isolated in ways that I think is somewhat unique, and that we have a history that is somewhat unique with respect to. So I'm not only going to propose that we do all-day service as proposed, but a second tranche for Saturday and Sunday as well. And I would appreciate Mr. Hunter's support with respect to that.
Can I make a specific, we say all-day service, do you mean beyond 6 to 7?
No, 6 to 7.
Not the evenings.
Not the evenings.
Are there other, I mean, I'm struck by the cost per rider, if 18 is correct, is $10,000 per rider. Right, so this is more than not just penciling out. It would be cheaper to buy them a car, right?
Yeah.
So,
And these passengers are really, for the most part, they're 2 passengers per person, because you're talking about a passenger going in and a passenger coming out as one person.
Well, I would only observe that there are those who argue from the community that additional riders would be picked up along a route, that it would not just be Tobytown. That may or may not prove out to be the case, but they point out that some of the places that this shuttle service or this ride-on service would serve would actually pick up other people as well. So I don't particularly trust the estimates and to the extent to which they rely solely on Tobytown with respect to it. I get that this is a special circumstance. And go ahead.
Just for your information, I think the projection that has been made was for along the route as well, right? So it's not purely based on Tobytown ridership.
And this cost, I assume, is in line with what a regular extension of a bus line of similar length would cost? It just,
Well, actually, what we're doing, we're not using a ride-on bus.
it's a
Actually
contract.
It's a
cheaper.
contract.
cheaper.
It's much cheaper. It's a van. It's as cheap as we knew how to do it, as I understood it.
That is correct for the number of ridership. We felt that.
We're on Tobytown.
I support the chair.
Thank you.
And are there, Mr. Rushdie, are there other alternatives that we have considered, including
Frankly,
van pool,
I-
anything else that
I
might be?
looked at every possible alternatives, and this is the most cost-effective alternatives that we could come up with. Want to add in?
We have had two other projects out there over the years. In the late 80s, we had a van pool that operated that we provided the subsidy for. Tobytown provided the driver. And they had a very difficult time keeping the van pool going. And then just recently, within the last probably 5 years, we did Link a Ride, which is a program similar to Call and Ride, where we provided the taxi coupons, which we had at the time, and registered all the Tobytown residents, and then the cabs went out there and picked them up according to whenever they needed to go. And that one was not really well used either. So we've
But
tried
less
two different
expensive.
things.
But presumably less expensive than $192,000.
Yeah, I believe it was. I don't recall exactly how much it was.
So why not just take that
But the
approach
key-
again if it solves the problem of providing transportation solution but doesn't cost
But
as
the
much
key
per
is
rider?
that they wanted a kind of a regular bus service, like a ride-on service. So we looked at providing the smallest bus that we have in our fleet, and the cost was much more. And we felt that based on the ridership, the most effective or most efficient system would be to go with the kind of a smaller type shuttle and operate as a bus, and they said they will pick up other people along the way.
Yeah, when we met with the community, they very much wanted to be treated just like people in the rest of the network. Go out and catch a bus on in a regular time frame, not have to do anything in advance, plan in advance like you'd have to do when you arranged for a taxi, or like you'd have to do with a van pool as well. So there was very much a desire to be like the rest of the county and to have a bus that's along a regular route that they could just go out and stand at the bus stop.
The only thing is we start all the routes. We start with the peak, and then we go to the full day, and then Saturday, Sunday. So that is the typical way of us starting a route. That's why, for example, Clarksburg was, although it was proposed for all day, the county executive is recommending peak time to begin with, and then extend as needed.
Okay.
So why don't we do a 2-to-1
Okay.
on this one?
What, by the way, we have one more meeting that's on the schedule, May 5th. We're probably going to need it
We're going to
anyway.
need numbers
Yeah,
anyway
well,
from you
we
on
can
this
provide
piece
the numbers by then.
for the Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, that's probably the day we'll take up the snow supplemental, figuring it's going to come over soon. So.
And we'll have one other major item that I'll need some numbers from you on as well.
Okay. All right, we'll get to that. All right. So it's 2-to-1 for all day, 6 to 7 in the morning, in weekdays, and weekends also 6 to 7.
I'm open to
You're open? Okay, so
to thoughts as to
you
what
guys-
most appropriate normal service would look like.
Okay.
also Saturday, Sunday. I'm sorry, I have to keep notes too. Okay. Call and ride, the exec, this is a long